Okay, welcome to Dr.JIN's channel. Last video, we talked about something about gastric acid feedback. We introduced some patients with some disease like gastronoma, like pernicious anemia. It look like this kind of patient, there is some defect in this negative feedback. I just remind you again, once the food is go to the stomach, the acid secretion will increase. But at some point, this kind of secretion will decrease because there is a negative feedback. The hydrogen ion, if the pH value is below 3, the hydrogen ion will stimulate the D cell to secrete somatostatin. The somatostatin will bind on the receptor on the G cell to inhibit gastrin released to the circulation. Once the gastrin is inhibited, stopped, then the secretion of gastric acid will gradually decrease. Okay, today we just think about if the food move into your small intestine, we call mainly in duodenum, what will happen? Actually, when the food enter your duodenum, that time we don't call food because the probably the food already been changed. We call chyme. C-H-Y-M-E, chyme, because the stomach will process the food, will grind on your food, and will add acid on your food to mix together to the small size. Then eventually when the food enter your duodenum, the property of the food already be changed. But when the food on your duodenum, there is some information you need to understand. First, in the small intestine, the chyme still stimulates a small portion of acid secreted from parietal cells. What's the mechanism for that? Actually, G cell also located on the small intestine. So some partially digested protein will stimulate the G cell to increase gastrin, to activate the parietal cell and ECL cells. Also, think about in the duodenum, the absorption of the thing starts. So some circulation amino acid will directly act on parietal cells to secrete hydrogen ions. Okay, but today's main information is the main input in related to the gastric acid secretion in small intestine is inhibitory. Again, the main input related to the gastric acid secretion in the small intestine is inhibitory. Let me explain to you. If your chyme has some things which your chyme is enriched in acid, fatty acid, or hyperosmotic solution, just like high concentration of glucose solution, this kind of the stimuli will stimulate the duodenum to secrete a group of hormone, a whole bunch of the hormone. We call it enterogastrones. Entero is intestine. Gastrin means stomach. ONE means inhibits. What does this group enterogastrone means? Once the duodenal mucosa release enterogastrone into circulation, it will inhibit stomach function, include first, empty of stomach, the second, gastric acid secretion. Actually, it makes sense because the environment, especially for the pH value in the duodenum, is totally different within the stomach. That's why if you use some rich in acid food, the food is enriched with acid. In the duodenum, it will stimulate the duodenum to secrete some hormone such as CCK, cholecystokinin, also includes secretin. This kind of enterogastrone will release from the mucosa of the duodenum into circulation to act on the D cell of the antrum, also in the corpus of the stomach, to stimulate the D cell to release somatostatin, to inhibit one, G cell, to inhibit G cell to release gastrin. Second, the somatostatin will directly act on parietal cell to inhibit acid. Also, the somatostatin will move to the ECL to inhibit ECL cell to release histamine. Eventually, the overall function is if the chyme, which is enriched in acid, fatty acid, and hyperosmotic solution, it will stimulate the secretion of a group of hormone which is released from the duodenum. This group of hormone eventually it will give signal to the D cell to secrete the common mediator. Which one? Somatostatin, to inhibit G cell, to inhibit parietal cell, to inhibit ECL cell, to eventually gradually shut off the gastric acid secretion. Okay, this is today's main information. For next video, we will introduce you a very interesting concept related to physiology, because during the gastric secretion, it looked like a lot of mechanism is redundant. Is really this kind of the mechanism is redundant? I don't think so. But see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.